Welcome to the Pulse with Peter B. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano. Let's get you to the pulse on everything you need to know. And as you can see, I am even more excited than I normally am on previous shows because today's first segment, we have another Pulse premiere, and it is of the travel advisory type. And that is Miss Dottie Smith of M.Cher Family Fun Travel. Dottie, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I am fantastic.
Awesome.
We're talking about vacation? Are you kidding me? I've been on this pier, I feel like, for like 6 months.
We're talking about vacations, darling. Vacations.
I absolutely love it. And
Yes.
this is the first time I've ever been called darling on the show, so now I'm even more comfortable. I'm kind of like melting in this toast chair. Dottie, you got it. So, Dottie, talk to me. You are a travel advisor, correct?
I am. Yes.
Travel advisory, though, is I feel is a thing of the past, you know? I feel that most people kind of just book their own trips these days through Priceline, Orbitz, Expedia, so on and so forth. But when we were talking before the show, you mentioned to me how important it is that you have a travel advisor.
That's right.
Why is it so important?
Well, number one, it's important because travel advisors are advocates for their clients. They're going to save them time, they're going to save them some money on occasion, and they are always going to look out for their best interest. Okay, so it's really important, especially during these times, that clients are given appropriate information that's applicable to where they want to travel, give them the best deal that they can, and all the information that they can.
That's fantastic. So now, and one of the things that we were discussing in our pre-show meetings, yes, folks, we have pre-show meetings, was how these websites that people go on, like Priceline, Expedia, Orbitz, and so on and so forth, that a lot of these hotels and a lot of these airlines pay them, you know, not because they're the best bargain for the consumer, but they really receive extra funding from these companies to put their search result at the top, correct?
Correct, which is why you need to be very careful when you're using those online services because, you know, they'll show you pictures. I have clients because in the past they went to Travelocity or Priceline or whatever someone chooses, and they did not get the same accommodation that they thought they were going to get. So another reason to have an experienced travel advisor is because of our networking with the suppliers. We are given leverage with those suppliers. We have very good relationships with them. They provide us information that we need on travel advisories. So when you're using a travel advisor, the travel advisor is working for you. We know what to look for.
Exactly. And now, speaking of what to look for, and folks, you're going to get some information here that you can't get on any of those websites. Forget about those websites. Delete them from your caches. From Dottie Smith, that is. And that is traveling during the pandemic.
Yes.
I mean, there has to be so much more rules and regulations and so on and so forth. I was wondering, you know, I'm leaving my house about to head to, let's just say, Costa Rica. I was there last year. I was throwing that out there.
All right.
You know, I don't even know if I can go there still. You know, what do I expect getting to the airport? What do I expect at the airlines? What do I expect when I get to the resorts? And what do I expect when I return?
Okay, so when you're going to the airport, when you're leaving, you can pretty much expect what's happening today. There's going to be social distancing. You will notice that everyone has a mask. You will have to wear your mask throughout your flight. There's constant cleaning on the kiosk. You can use the kiosk if you want, but there's always someone there to make
sure. At the airport, correct?
At the airport,
Gotcha.
making sure everything is cleaned, well kept, and as sanitized as possible.
Gotcha. So now on the airplane, I mean,
Expect to wear your mask, Peter.
Okay.
Expect to wear your mask.
All right.
Now, I will tell you that some airlines, they're booking full flights. Other airlines are not.
Okay.
So it's.
And do you think there's a price difference in the ones that are booking the full
I
flights?
have not seen any. And the reason why I haven't seen a price difference is because these suppliers want to welcome their guests back. So they're doing what they can
to make them feel comfortable.
To make them feel comfortable and to welcome them back because everybody's interested in travel, Peter. So we'll get back there one day.
We will get back there.
Yes,
and,
yes.
You know, you just feel horrible during the summer season for a lot of these airlines and for a lot of these destination resorts and so on and so forth. So, Dottie, I'm looking for a vacation. Like I said, I've been doing this show for way too long now on the pier. You know, during the pandemic, I even got a full-time job, if you could believe it. You know, where do you recommend that I can go for vacation without having to fear quarantine or anything,
Okay.
or anything like that?
Okay. So pretty much we all know that U.S. citizens cannot cross the border into Europe. We know that.
Yeah, correct.
But the Caribbean is open.
Ah.
Aruba opened July 10th. And Turks and Caicos, they just recently opened July 22nd. So Jamaica's open. However, with Jamaica, you need to go to their advisory board because there is an authorization form that you need to fill out. This is something that some of your viewers may not know when they go to Jamaica. They need to fill out this form because Jamaica is being very careful about who they're letting in. They just want to make sure that you haven't been exposed to someone with COVID. They want to make sure that you don't have it yourself. Barbados is open.
So, but there's not like testing, correct? It's just like a sheet that you have to fill out.
No, there is required testing for some residents, and you have to show proof of this testing if you're from Texas, Arizona, New York, or
Florida?
California.
Or California.
Yeah.
Interesting. New York
Florida. Florida is another one, yes.
Florida's another one.
Yes.
New York is still, I mean, New York's got
Yeah,
like
well, they're being cautious now. You have
because
to,
those are very populated states as well.
Yes.
So,
Not
yeah.
only that, but the travel advisories, along with all the policies that I'm reading on a routine basis, they're very fluid. So I just mentioned Florida, New York, and different places. I could go home and check tonight and it'd be something different.
And it'll be fluid. And that's
Yeah.
why you need to call.
That's why you
need to call Dottie over here.
Hello?
Have no fear. Dottie is here for you,
Yes,
folks. Let
I'm
me
here
tell
for
you.
you.
I mean,
Yes.
absolutely. And we'll put your information on the bottom of the screen, of course. You know,
Okay,
of
thank
course,
you.
M.Cher Family Fun Travel. And I have to tell you, folks, I have to just mention this. When I was talking to her the other night, you know, she made me feel so much more comfortable, you know, going away. And maybe because I'm a New Jersey resident, I'm not one of those states that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But very quickly, Dottie, there's also a fear from travelers that when they come back, that they're going to have to quarantine. I mean, that's not necessarily the case if they're
That is
visiting
correct.
any of these countries, correct?
That is correct. I haven't read one thing in any of the travel advisories that are available to me about having to quarantine when you come from one of these destinations.
That's fantastic. So look, you know, go to Aruba. Aruba's gorgeous.
Yeah, oh,
Turks and Caicos. I
yes,
mean, you know, call
yes,
Dottie up.
yeah.
She's got some plans for you.
I do.
And,
I can
now
give
is
those-
probably the cheapest time to go down there.
Listen, they are giving lots of promotions now because, again, they want to open up the travel, and these destinations, their economy depends on this. So they want it to be welcoming. They want to welcome their guests, and they're taking all the precautions they possibly can to make sure that their guests are taken care of, they're safe, they're cleaning, they're sanitizing, all of that.
That's fantastic. I mean, it really, really is. Now, Dottie, you know, since your business is so interesting, as I like to say, is there anything you want to tell the viewers at home, you know, about your business? Like, you know, can they go on your website? Can they look at, like, if somebody's interested in, you know what, I'm going to use that Dottie Smith because she's way better looking than Pete Biancamano, which she is, folks. You know, I mean, you know, how could viewers get more information about what to do?
Okay, so what you can do, you can check out my website at msharefamilyfuntravel.com. That's msharefamilyfuntravel.com. And when you get to the website, you can scroll through it. You'll have a little button where you can get more information. You can email me directly.
Look at that. Well, Dottie Smith, I'm going to start calling you our Pulse Travel Advisor. What do you think of that, huh? I mean, I think we need one of these on the show, no?
Oh, yes. I'll come back. Yes.
I mean, what view, right, to come back to?
Yes.
I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous,
Absolutely.
Dottie. Thank you so much.
You're
and folks,
welcome.
I'm telling you, get on msharefamilyfuntravel.com. I mean, and can you do me a favor?
Certainly.
Tell everybody your phone number, too.
My phone number is 267-258-7345.
And that's strictly for travel purposes,
Strictly.
not for anything else, folks. I meant that. Dottie, thank you so much for
You're
joining us.
welcome.
And we look forward to having you on in a
Thank
future
you.
show.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Would love to do it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Folks, we'll be right back with our Politics with Peter B segment. And, of course, Josh. You're not going to want to miss it. We will be back. Peter Biancamano, your hostess with the mostest of the Pulse with Peter B. Folks, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at the Pulse with Peter B, and make sure you like and follow us on there. We're constantly updating that page with new information. And also, on Instagram. For all you grammars out there, make sure you follow us there as well. We're constantly putting these really cool stories, previewing all of our episodes. And if you don't want to DM us through our Instagram or message us through our Facebook, you can always email us. And that's at thepulsewithpeterb@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you. Welcome back to The Pulse. I'm Peter Biancamano in a segment that I really haven't been in the last few months. And not because we really couldn't find a special guest host, but because I miss my man, Josh Sotomayor Einstein, in our politics segment. Josh, what's going on, brother?
As you can see, since you're hosting this segment again, I dressed more informally.
Well, listen, you know what? I mean, it's a very informal show, I feel like, no?
I mean,
we could debate this for 9 minutes.
You take it that way. At least you're not wearing your grungy, gross, hacky sack sweatshirt.
Oh, he's going after the gray sweatshirt.
So gross, guys.
But Josh, what Josh fails to mention to you folks is that he wears this shirt every week and doesn't wash it. Now I can kind of.
I have 2 button-up shirts. I'll have you know that I rotate between.
All right, enough of the. Now you know why I haven't been on this segment, because we are just really throwing each other under the bus. Anyway, Josh, I feel like politics in the city of Hoboken and Hudson County and the state and the country, but we won't touch the latter there, never takes a day off. The city of Hoboken, there was another special meeting yesterday regarding bicycle parking that Councilman DeFusco, who we had as a guest on the show recently, and Councilwoman Fisher sponsored, and then Mayor Bala vetoed it, basically to have bicycles parked in the garage for $1 a week or $52 a year or something like that. What is with the division when it comes to bicycles? I thought everybody likes bicycles.
So I personally hate like at least 50% of the bicyclists that we have in town without even knowing them, all right? Because there's so many bicycle supremacists out there that just want to run pedestrians off the road, and also they want to run car drivers off of the actual road. So when it comes to most things bicycle, I'm against. But when it comes to the ordinance that allows fellow Hoboken taxpayers to store their bikes in municipal parking lots and to just pay $1 a week for it, it seems to me it's a no-brainer. It's probably why the Ball administration's against it, because they seemingly have no brains. And anything that their opposition says, they're just automatically against unless they can steal credit for it right away.
But I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Exactly. Do you think that the council majority, such as the Councilman DeFusco, such as the Councilwoman Fishers, the Council President Giottinos, also play that game as well, where if there's an initiative that the Bala administration introduces that might be a good initiative, they need to pick it apart and make it
one side shouldn't just unilaterally disarm. That's giving an unfair advantage to an administration that was elected with a minority of voters in the city of Hoboken. And don't get me wrong, I think the council opposition's priorities and spending spending plans are only marginally not as bad as the administration's. But in politics, as my Nana used to say, and I'm sure many other people said as well, you get to vote for the crook of your choice. Now, I'm not calling these people crooks, but there's no good option, so there's less bad options. And when it comes to choosing between worse and bad, I choose. Well, I don't know what I just said right there. But when it comes to bad and worse,
must be the hat, folks. Might gotta be the hat today.
I didn't really understand what mousse was, and I tried it today, so my hair's not that great. Maybe seeped into my brain a little bit.
All right, now you got to take it off to show the audience.
Nope, I ain't doing that. But no, honestly,
I don't know if you understand what gel means as well, because I've seen
gel.
Your hair
I understand.
Gel in the
LA looks. I'm telling you all the way. But here's the thing. There are good people on both sides. On Bala's side and on the opposition. I have a particular fondness for Emily Jabor in the Bala camp, and I have a particular fondness for Michael DeFusco in the opposition camp. And just because we disagree, what I like about those two people is that you can disagree with them and they understand that it's not the end of the world.
But Josh, would you say this fondness that you have for Councilman DeFusco,
and Jabor,
and of course Councilwoman Jabor, and Councilwoman Jabor, you're always invited on this show. Trust me, the more weeks that Josh is off, the better. Kidding. Anyway.
No, he's not. He's dead serious.
Anyway.
Write in now to tell him to keep me.
Exactly. I mean, at thepulsewithpeterb@gmail.com. Anyway, you're a guy that's against taxes. Your fondness for Councilman DeFusco just introduced another tax with this bike ordinance. Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, nothing is perfect. I mean, Milton Friedman used to like to quote, and he's one of the fathers of actual economics, not crazy spend money you don't have economics that we follow in democratic New Jersey. He used to like to quote that the perfect is the enemy of the good. Okay. So if you're always shooting for utopia, well, guess what? Utopia literally means land that doesn't exist. So you won't get there. So you have to be a realist and you have to be pragmatic, and that's what being, I think a conservative is all about. If you're watching and you didn't know I was conservative, you're on drugs.
Or deaf and mute and everything else.
Well, hopefully it's not on mute.
Well, I don't know. We do have viewer emails. No, I'm just kidding. So, Josh, question for you. I mean, I've been getting, and I don't want to curse on television.
Hate mail?
What was that?
Hate mail?
No.
Because it's totally not from me. It's not from me. Not from me.
Josh has many different aliases that he sends me a hate mail to. No, but I've been getting some crap, let's just say, from people in the administration that when we had Councilman Michael DeFusco on, I kind of gave an opinion that I believed he was going to be the next mayor of Hoboken. Now, I believe that when I was interviewing him. I still believe that to this day. I mean, but obviously an opinion can change over time. I mean, why do you think that there's, my goodness, the phone calls I was getting afterwards. Why do you think that there's this just much divide in the city where, I can't even give an opinion that might not be my opinion when I go to the polls next year?
Well, I think
I didn't say I was voting for him. I just said that I believe he has a very good shot at being the mayor.
I think this is a bipartisan or post-partisan or partisan problem.
Oh, wow.
Right?
You had to throw that one in there.
You're a lefty, so you like that. A transpartisan problem, where it was mostly on the left, but there are people on the right that are like this, that they're so in love with their own selves, and they're so, in their basement, in their pajamas, eating their soy latte, the soy boy pajama boys that don't understand or are shocked when people disagree with them. And I think it goes back to parenting that went wrong when they received too many participation trophies. So they think that they are, the apple of everybody's eye when they're just the apple of their parents' eyes. And there's nothing wrong with parents loving your kids. But when you don't understand,
you're kind of saying that there is.
You don't, and I'm also being condescending, which I'm accused of fairly often, and it's true. But they don't understand, and they're surprised when people disagree. And I've heard so many people in politics say, oh, I think they disagree with me because it's a personal problem. No, it's because they don't like your policies. And I personally think most policies are garbage because they limit the amount of human freedom that we all enjoy.
Well, why can't we just all get along, right, Josh? I mean...
well, it's okay if we don't all get along, but we can still be friendly and
civil
civil and cordial. And that's what people, don't understand, especially, not exclusively, but especially in the Bala administration.
I thought we were going to end the segment off with just that line. We're going to end it, though, there.
Okie dokie.
Josh Sotomayor Einstein, this was real with the two of us doing this again. I feel like it's old days again.
I can't wait for them to end.
I cannot wait for them to end. And thanks for dressing up for me and for washing this shirt, or I don't know. Maybe it's the shoes that smell.
Febreze.
Febreze. Folks, when we come back, it is our Picks with Peter B segment. We're going to be talking about the National Hockey League. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll have Matt Waymire with us. We'll be right back. Peter Biancamano back with you. Make sure you watch us on cable access every Sunday and Monday at 9 a.m. Optimum Channel 18, Files Channel 46, and Comcast Channel 190. And also, every Sunday, 9:30 a.m., we post our new episode and our segments, our individual segments, on our YouTube page. You're not going to want to miss it. Please subscribe to our channel there. We'll see you there. Welcome back to The Pulse. Peter Biancamano still here in the host chair, and we are joined by his sports brilliance for the second week in a row, and that is Mr. Matt Waymire. Matt, second week in a row, you feeling good?
Well, last week I was sports majesty. I've upgraded to brilliance.
Brilliance.
I mean, next week I can't even imagine what that's going to be.
I have to go to the thesaurus and look at different adjectives and all of that, but I swear I will find
I'm
something.
enjoying it.
Exactly. And I don't know what's better, majesty, brilliance. You know what? They're equal.
Flip a coin. Either one's good. Either one's good.
And you know what's funny, Matt? I've been excited this whole show because not only am I going to plan a vacation now because we had a wonderful travel advisor in the beginning of the show.
All right.
M.Cher Family Fun Travel. Get on there. You know?
Duly noted.
Duly noted, exactly. Now we're talking about a little NHL.
Yes.
And look at the smile because people at home know that this is my favorite sport. And speaking of favorites, why don't we start with those New York Rangers?
Well, they may be your favorites, and the
Supposed to be a
majority of the
biased
viewing
person,
audience.
I was going to say in
but
this area,
no,
absolutely.
No disrespect for the Rangers. They came on like gangbusters the last, I believe their record the last 17 games of the year, 11-5-2.
It was unbelievable.
If I'm not mistaken.
It was unbelievable. But before we jump into them,
Sure.
Matt, because we need to talk about the resume to NHL
Yes,
action. That's
yes.
going to be next weekend, starting August 1st. And it's going to be a tournament. They're going to have a few playing games.
Mm-hmm.
And now we can talk about the Rangers because the Rangers are one of those teams that are playing a playing game against the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yes.
And like you said, on fire before the stoppage.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this at first. Do you think the stoppage they're going to start right where they left off? Or?
Well, it's funky because what we have now is basically a 24-team tournament.
Correct.
As opposed to traditional years where it's 8 from each conference is 16 total. And if they had held with tradition for the resumption of play in 2020, the Rangers would not have made it.
Correct.
So the
2
Rangers—
points out, by the way.
2 points out, but now that doesn't matter because they're one of the 24 teams that are in. They're in a play-in round, for lack of a more eloquent term, I guess.
Exactly.
And if they get past Carolina, who they own, who they dominate, then they're going to make that more traditional playoff field.
But as a Ranger fan, I hate that. I hate when we own a team because, it just means that the team is due to beat us, correct?
You would think so. But it's been so many years that the Rangers have had this dominance over Carolina. If I'm a Ranger fan, if I'm you, I'm feeling pretty good right now. I'm sitting pretty because I could not have handpicked a better opponent for the Rangers than their personal punching bag, their personal pinata. The Carolina Hurricanes.
So let's get a little more in-depth about this now. The Rangers, they were supposed to be rebuilding for the next 4 to 5 years. And boom, David Quinn, second-year coach, came from the college ranks, BU or BC, I forget which one.
BU.
BU.
Yep.
Really has them in the playoffs now.
Yeah. Well, what they did was they copied the blueprint of their crosstown baseball neighbors, the Yankees, because the Yankees, they were entering a rebuild, quote-unquote. That didn't happen. They got good again right away, and that's what the Rangers have done. They made the signing of all signings in the offseason in Artemi Panarin. This guy's in his prime, began with Chicago, one season with Columbus, and he probably, not saying definitely, but probably is going to win the Hart Trophy as the NHL MVP for this season. He's been that good. Guys like Mika Zibanejad had a 5-goal game right before the pandemic. MSG blew the roof off the place.
Blew the roof off.
I mean, those two, they're as dynamic a duo as any pair you'll find in the NHL.
And it's funny you mention that, Matt, because these are guys who have been in the league for a while now, but they're still in their prime. They're probably late 20s or something like that. But the Rangers have young players as well.
They do.
And I know you want to talk about him because I know you love saying his name, but the goalie.
Igor Shesterkin. Now, he has been, he was like the white whale for the Rangers for a long time, the guy that they had their eye on, the guy that they were trying to get over from Russia. They have, and he's been every bit as good as Rangers fans were hoping. Got some numbers, folks.
He's
How about
got
that?
the numbers.
Got the numbers, but Shesterkin this year, 10-2, 10-2-0, 932 save percentage, a 2.52 goals against. I'm not going to say he's a kid. He's 24, so he's a grown man. But in terms of NHL experience, he is kind of still of a pup. And, how he's acclimated to the NHL game has just been tremendous. And, of course, the stalwart in goal for the Rangers for so many years has been Henrik Lundqvist. And it's been –
who I love. He's my man.
I mean, what Ranger fan doesn't love King
I
Kane?
know.
But, look, Father Time is undefeated. Father Time catches everybody. Henrik is on the decline. He's 38 years old now. Igor's the young guy. He's on the rise. And there was debate as to whether, who starts against Carolina in this play-in round because Hank's numbers against Carolina in his career, check this out, 33, 12, and 1. 934 save percentage and an even 2 goals against average for his career against Carolina.
It's a good problem to have if you're the Rangers.
Yeah, it is.
Now, do you think Carolina, of course, has Brady Shea, who was a former Ranger, who is gunning for them, let's just say. Yeah. Do you think that the Rangers are going to prevail in this series?
I do.
Cool.
I do.
All right. This made me so happy.
Carolina, great defensive team. Strong with the D, good goaltending, but the Rangers have enough firepower to overcome that. Again, like you said, Brady Shea is going to be out there gunning for revenge against the team that shipped him out of town. Tony DeAngelo came on so strong on the blue line that Shea became expendable, and they sent him off. But I still think, despite, Carolina's a good team, don't get me wrong, but A, the Rangers own them, B, the Rangers are better, C, the Rangers prevail.
I love that. All right, let's talk about the New York Islanders now, because the Islanders, whether I hate to say this, love to say this or not, they are the better New York team, at least standings-wise this year. And they were last year. Of course, Barry Trotz coming over from the Stanley Cup champion winning Washington Capitals. Florida Panthers. Is this going to be a tough matchup for the New York Islanders?
The Panthers are a tough team, but I was a little bit surprised when I looked into the numbers between the Isles and Panthers this year. Isles are undefeated against Florida in 3 games.
Oh, God.
3-0-0. Now, the caveat here is that the games have all been close. They've been a 3-2 shootout win, 2-1, and 3-1. You can look at this one of two ways. You can say, well, the Isles have not dominated Florida. That's certainly true. The flip side of that is playoff hockey is usually a 1 or 2 goal game. And because the Isles have played those types of games already against Florida, it gives them a big experience upper hand, gives them the edge in that category. So even though they're not beating Florida by 3 or 4 goals a game, I think that could actually, in a strange way, work in their favor in a playoff atmosphere.
Interesting. Now, and the Islanders are one of those teams where they really don't have a star.
No.
I mean, maybe Barzal or something like that, but they just play as a team, correct?
Yeah.
And it works under Barry Trotz.
They've got such a finely tuned and structured system that they kind of get away without having that A-list superstar. You mentioned Matt Barzal. He leads the team with 60 points. Well, 60 points is all well and good. That's 41st in the NHL amongst individuals, and he's their leading scorer.
God.
Now, I'm not dumping on Matt Barzal. He's an outstanding player. I'm just trying to illustrate that they don't have that A-list superstar. They got a lot of complementary pieces around Barzal. They've got Anders Lee, Brock Nelson, Jean-Gabriel Pajot, who they acquired from Ottawa.
Pajot, that's right.
You're right, before the deadline. JG Pajot. He has not been great. He only played 7 games, 2 goals, a -6. He hasn't been great, but he's good enough to where he's going to come around. But they don't have that A-lister. They don't have that Ovechkin, that Pasternak, that Crosby.
Or Panarin.
Or Panarin. Right. They don't have that marquee guy. But like you said, Barry Trotz is such an outstanding coach. Now, granted, he had Alex Ovechkin all those years. I understand that.
But still, look what he's doing with this team.
Look what he's doing with a team that does not have anything resembling an Ovechkin.
So now, Islanders, are they going to prevail against the Florida Panthers?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
I think they're, it's our intern Nicolette is happy, so extremely happy.
I know. There are Islander fans out there.
There are a lot of them. A lot of them. Yeah. I don't think they're going to have an easy time of it, as the 3 games in the regular season have kind of illustrated. But I still think they have enough. They play enough as a team. Semyon Varlamov, not spectacular, but steady enough in that they're going to get by Carolina.
And Matt, I have to ask this.
I'm sorry, by Florida.
By Florida, yeah. Well, Rangers getting back Carolina.
Right.
Matt, I have to ask this. I know we're pretty much out of time here, but I have to ask this.
Yeah.
Are the Rangers or the Islanders good enough to be the next Stanley Cup champions?
They both are. And that's where this whole thing gets so interesting, is because, as of now, before the play-in round, obviously, it's a 24-team tournament. It's all neutral sites unless you're the Maple Leafs or the Oilers, because those are the 2 hubs that these playoffs are taking place in. I mean, it's cliche to say anything can happen, but this year, under these circumstances, literally anything can happen. My Bruins could win it. They've got the most points in the NHL.
He had to throw his Boston Bruins.
Well, I got to plug them. Come on, Or, to be fair, they could get bounced in the first round. They get swept. Look at Tampa Bay last year.
That's it.
They had a historic regular season swept in the first round by Columbus. And if that happened under traditional circumstances, in this circumstance, who the heck knows what's going to take place? The Rangers could win it. The Isles could win it. The other 22 teams could win it. You just don't know.
Well, Matt, I'm getting yelled at here. You can tell we're talking about hockey, and I don't care about the time,
That's
folks.
right.
Matt Waymire, our sports insider, every week here on The Pulse. Thank you for joining us.
You got it.
Look forward to seeing you again. Folks, join us next week for The Pulse on everything you need to know. I'm Peter Biancamano. You guys have a great week.